Throngs of Ford workers once assembled cars like the Model T, much of the work done by hand, by muscle power. Competitive pressures prompted industrial companies of all kinds to seek more efficient, less labor-intensive, and cheaper ways to make products. Bad news for millions of workers like Holly Stover, who once held jobs in industrial companies. She was laid off after years of work for steel firms.
Well, I hope to end up working a decent job, making a decent living.
With help from an employment counselor, Stover is exploring new kinds of work, worrying about health care costs, and considering school to update skills. A Georgetown University workforce expert says more industrial robots mean fewer humans have high-paying jobs on production lines.
The principal job eater since the early 1980s, when this began with a vengeance after a very difficult decade in the 1970s in manufacturing, is technology. Probably 75% of the job loss is technology-based, just to say robots, machines in general, are substituting for people.
But a top Labor Department official says the changing economy brings new opportunities for workers if they have relevant skills. Many employers complain they can't find enough people who can do things like run advanced machine tools or program computers.
We've also in this country had a remarkable transition to a service economy. And really wonderful high-paying jobs in IT, for instance. Those are industries that didn't exist 20 or 30 years ago.
Meantime, the head of the Southeast Michigan Community Alliance says employers are trying to close the skills gap by seeking apprentices for high-paying jobs like electricians, plumbers, carpenters, millwrights, and pipe fitters.
I'm Naomi Kyle here with IGN News. Domino's Pizza has unveiled what they're calling the world's first commercial autonomous delivery vehicle to deliver pizza in Australia. The Domino's Robotic Unit, or DRU, was developed in collaboration with Marathon Robotics, known for making targets for live-fire army training. The DRU can reach speeds of roughly 12.5 miles an hour, overcoming obstacles in its path and even navigate fences and driveways, although customers will have to collect their delivery from the curb for now. The DRU also makes conversation during deliveries and includes cameras to catch any potential pizza snatchers in the act. According to the CEO of Domino's, the DRU is completely safe. He said one of our inspirations for DRU is safety. It seems pretty crazy to us that we would use a 1.5-ton vehicle to deliver a few hundred grams of pizza. But Australians' pizza will continue to be delivered by humans for the time being. The DRU isn't allowed on highways and can currently only deliver an average-sized pizza. For all of your pizza robot news, stay tuned to IGN.
All the robots.
For Complex Hustle, I'm Brian Hanley. Back in the 4th century BC, Aristotle predicted that human labor would no longer be needed once machines became sufficiently advanced. And as it turns out, Aristotle hit the nail on the head. In 1960, President Kennedy expressed concern about the future of automation.
What happens to men when machines take their place?
And then just last year, President Obama told Congress that robots could replace up to 50% of all American jobs in the next 14 years alone. 50% of all jobs. Whether you're talking about factory workers or truck drivers, marketers or accountants, people of virtually every education level are struggling to compete with the complex machines that can now do our jobs for less money and in less time than we ever could. Amazon's the perfect example of where things are headed. Behind Amazon's convenience and quick deliveries is a fleet of robots working side by side its laborers. Amazon's busy expanding its fleet of robots too and replacing more of its factory workers in coming years. Robots combined with Amazon's much anticipated drone delivery and the prospect of autonomous cars could very well enable Amazon to operate entirely by machines. These labor-saving technologies are exacerbating inequality by putting more middle-class people out of work while simultaneously making the wealthiest people among us, like the executives over at Amazon, even wealthier. It's quite possible that someday soon Amazon won't even need to employ a single factory worker, which is great for Amazon, but absolutely horrendous for its employees. The fact is, when more can be done by just a few people and their machines, it makes the rest of us pretty much useless. That's precisely why Elon Musk is calling for a universal basic income to counteract the inevitable disruption caused by automation. Basic income is the idea that all citizens receive a regular sum of money in order to meet their basic needs. While such an idea is commonly associated with market socialism, it's also fully compatible with capitalist systems, provided that the universal basic income is financed through taxation. Musk says, I think we'll end up doing universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. The idea is once human labor becomes unnecessary, so too will our current economic system. For more stories like this, keep it locked right here on YouTube. Or if there's a robot you prefer to get your news from, that works too. For Complex Hustle, I'm Brian Hamlin.
Innovation's in our DNA, and delivering the best truck on the road today is something we're committed to always doing into the future.
Lawyering Up just got a modern-day twist. Ross is the world's newest super intelligent attorney, super artificially intelligent attorney, that is. That's right, you can now be represented by a robot lawyer. Kind of. Baker Hostetler, one of the biggest law firms in the United States, says it's hired a robot named Ross. Now, Ross won't be cross-examining witnesses anytime soon. Instead, the AI attorney will act as a legal researcher for the 50 human lawyers in Baker Hostetler's bankruptcy division. Ross is built upon Watson, IBM's cognitive computer, and it can search through thousands of legal documents and monitor the law for changes that can affect a person's case in order to save time for lawyers. Baker Hostetler CIO Bob Craig told Newsbeat Social that while Ross is still early in the venture, the attorneys who have used it have, quote, experienced an increased efficiency in use of time. What do you think? Would you trust a machine with your case? We'd love to read your thoughts in the comment section below. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Molly Reel.
There's drones in the sky and there's drones on the road, but have you ever seen a drone of the water? We are here at DARPA's ACTUV christening of this 130-foot autonomous vessel that's probably going to change the way the Navy operates in 10 years. What it's supposed to do is autonomously track submarines, perhaps even look for mines in the open water. Over the last 6 years, this vessel has turned from concept into what you see here, a 130-foot autonomous vessel ready to launch here in Portland, Oregon. So why don't we go talk to a few of the people that have made this happen. I'm here with DARPA Project Manager Scott Littlefield here at the Active site in Portland, and if you could just tell us a little bit about the Active and sort of its process into finally making its way into the water.
Sure. So we've been at this for several years. What we're building is a large unmanned surface vehicle that's designed to basically stay out to sea for weeks to months at a time. It's got a lot of endurance, can carry a lot of payload, and it's highly autonomous. So the DARPA program has really been focused on developing the autonomy to allow it to operate safely at sea and obey the rules of the road at sea, not collide with other vessels, and actually then hopefully do useful missions for the Navy. And so this prototype is going to help us figure out how to do that and what it's good for.
Was it a very bumpy road getting it to be as smart as it is today?
I'd say it was, in the sense that we kind of had some fundamental ideas of how the algorithms ought to work and how to write the software, and then we were testing it in a system integration lab on land, but we really didn't feel confident that that was enough. So we needed to get out to sea and find out how well does it really work at sea. So actually, starting about 2 years ago, we took essentially the brains of Active, the software, and installed those on a smaller vessel, which we call our surrogate boat. That process actually revealed some things that surprised us. So sometimes things that work great in the lab don't really work so well at sea.
Right.
And so, but I think that process of really getting to sea and learning what works and what doesn't, and then going back and understanding and diagnosing some of the problems and fixing the software you know, that iterative process is what really has brought us to the point now where we feel very confident that it's going to work.
And now it's going to be heading down to San Diego this week for further testing over the next couple of years. Can you explain a little bit about what that testing is going to consist of and what we can expect?
One is really the technical performance of the vessel. You know, does it work as a vessel? Does the autonomy work as we expect it to? Is it reliable? And then once we kind of get over some of those sort of basic threshold questions, we'll get into testing payloads and testing its interoperability with other manned systems. So we really, at some point before too long, want to let the Navy work with it and start doing some experimentation where active is working cooperatively with manned vessels to try to perform, you know, real missions. I mean, still in a test phase,
right.
but really understand how would sailors effectively use a capability like this to make what they're doing safer and more effective going forward.
What would you say then is the single biggest obstacle that it faces before the Navy can actually put it to use?
So I think it's reliability. You know, when we talk about obstacle avoidance, you know, the fact that it didn't run into another ship once is not statistically significant, right? So, and just like, you know, Google has been testing their unmanned car for years and they've got, you know, millions of miles on the road and still a lot more testing to go. I think for us, really getting to that very high degree of confidence that this is just as safe and reliable as a human-operated vessel is probably the biggest challenge.
We should have a society that measures progress not just by economic metrics like GDP, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas.
Meet Pepper, the irresistible brand ambassador that gives your Marcom teams a powerful new way to engage with consumers and gives your sales force a helping hand for those mundane tasks that might otherwise prevent them from building better relationships with their customers. Pepper is designed to be conversant and interact with customers in a natural, engaging way. Created with a unique combination of emotional intelligence and an array of sophisticated hardware, Pepper responds to touch, can listen, and even knows how a customer is feeling. Which is why some of the world's largest and most innovative brands in the retail space have chosen Pepper as their brand ambassador, sales associate, and all-around engagement specialist. Westfield, one of North America's leading shopping centers, partnered with SoftBank Robotics for the launch of Pepper's first retail experience in the U.S. The benefits to Westfield's customers were immediate.
Pepper helps that interaction with the concierge team by providing wayfinding, entertaining, and engaging our customers.
HMS Host is part of one of the world's largest providers of food and beverage services for U.S. airports. Pepper was chosen to be a host at their Pyramid Ale tap room within the Oakland International Airport, engaging with customers and offering food and drink suggestions.
Kids really seem to enjoy Pepper. Very busy environment, it's a stressful time flying. Takes their mind off of that stress and they really enjoy the interactions.
Beta, a new hands-on retail store that allows customers to experience future-forward technology, is a tech lover's dream. Pepper went to work at their Palo Alto flagship store and had such a huge impact that the Santa Monica location chose Pepper to elevate both their brand and store experience during the holiday shopping season.
The traffic was definitely up, as well as the response was very, very positive.
The Av is a one-of-a-kind store where shoppers flock to buy customizable sneakers. When Pepper took over basic sales associate tasks, the store had one of its best runs ever.
I love observing the customer's reaction, the way that their faces light up when she talks to them, the way that they seem just to get the giggles when she explains to them what the products are and what the process is.
Always available, always engaging, always helpful. Meet Pepper.
Hi, how can I help you?
Imagine having a 5-star chef cooking all your meals for you every day of your life. This is the dream and the goal that Mully Robotics is trying to accomplish. They have created the first fully automated and intelligent robots that can learn recipes, cook all kinds of foods with a remarkable precision, and then clean up after themselves. Molly Robotics built a working prototype of the Molly Kitchen. This futuristic-looking workstation is equipped with advanced robotic arms and hands that can grip kitchen utensils, measure liquids, crack eggs, you name it, they can do it. Master Chef winner Tim Anderson was hired on as Molly's development chef and helped the robotics team teach the robots how to cook by using motion capture gloves and wristbands, much like a video game. This means you can potentially record the movements of other famous chefs and have a meal prepared for you indirectly by, let's say, Chef Gordon Ramsay.
You're in denial!
Molly Robotics recently launched a crowdfunding campaign looking for investors and potential testers of the prototype kitchen to help them improve the robot's ability. Molly believes that they can do for cooking what smartphone devices have done for communications and what vacuum cleaners have done for cleaning, according to the product video. You can read more about the Molly Robotics Kitchen at cnet.com.
Robot-operated flying factories, automated production lines, and green construction robots may all sound like science fiction, but in reality aren't that far-fetched. Project development and construction company Skanska UK has been awarded a £700,000 government grant to create the next generation of construction robots.
Robots have been used for routine tasks in car manufacture since the early 1960s. Now the traditional UK construction industry is on the verge of a robotic revolution. Qbot was recognised by the Chartered Institute of Building in its International Innovation and Research Awards. The company has designed a robot for applying underfloor insulation without the need to pull up floorboards, reducing heat loss in homes by up to 86%. Skanska UK, the UK arm of the Swedish contractor Skanska, has just won a £700,000 government-sponsored grant to investigate the potential application of robots in off-site manufacture. Sam Stacey is Skanska UK's head of innovation.
What we want to do is to work out how to bring robotic techniques into the construction industry to make what we do more efficient, to make it safer, to make it greener. And reduce, where possible, any jobs which are difficult or dangerous or tedious for humans to carry out.
Skanska UK is drawing on the expertise of specialised robot manufacturers ABB Robotics. Its general industry sales manager Mike Wilson says robots are capable of handling a multitude of tasks within the construction industry.
We will start to see robots being used for welding things, for handling heavy objects, for assembling some of the modular operations or modular parts that they have, for cutting holes.
So why has it taken so long?
I think some of it's a mindset thing. The car industry has been using robots for a very long time and they understand what they're about and how to make the best of them, whereas construction hasn't really been thinking about using automation in that way. They've had traditional methods in terms of how they produce buildings, and it's taking them time to adjust to new ways of doing things.
And spearheading the new ways of doing things are flying factories, like this one set up by Skanska UK in Slough. And it's projected that with the use of robots, flying factories like these could be producing up to 5,000 units in the very near future. But change doesn't come without challenges. Sam Stacey again.
When we bring robotics into construction, it'll affect our supply chains, it'll affect our designers. All the different organisations are going to be affected in their different ways. They're all going to have their own agendas. So managing the relationships, managing the collaborations is going to be as important as making the technology work.
Technology is pushing construction forward at an unprecedented rate. And as the cost-cutting and time-saving benefits are factored into project costs, it will only be a matter of time before robots like these become a familiar sight for the new-look UK construction industry.
Now this could be the future of farming. Autonomous robots working together to spray a paddock. An Australian-based company invented the weed-killing robot machinery. And the robots can communicate with each other to make sure not a single weed is missed. And more importantly, they are much lighter and more agile than traditional machinery. The invention has already attracted interest from universities and investors.
Robot food delivery hitting streets in San Francisco. A startup company in partnership with Yelp's Eat24 is experimenting with robot deliveries in 2 districts of San Francisco. Delivery robots are equipped with LiDAR, ultrasonic sensors, and cameras. One device is as big as a mobility scooter and stands at about average waist height. Users can choose to use the robot delivery service while placing orders through an app. A PIN code will be given to the user to unlock the robot's cargo compartment. After delivery, the robot will automatically return to headquarters or another restaurant. The startup company says the robot can be used to deliver groceries, pharmaceutical products, and parcels in the future.
And watch out, journalists. Your career may be in jeopardy. During the 2 sessions of China's Central China Hubei province, a robot has attracted attention. It was no ordinary robot, but was working as a journalist for a local television broadcaster. It was capable of making conversation with interviewees, recording their comments before sending the materials back to headquarters.
Hey, let's face it, invoice accounting can be time-consuming and expensive. Your accounting team has to go through every single accounts payable invoice and input each line item manually, one by one. Of course, doing it this way is slow and inefficient, not to mention prone to errors. On top of that, there's the added stress of trying to calculate the proper VAT amounts and then making sure they're put in the correct place on the ledger. Geez, there's got to be a better way. There is. With Invoice Sharing's accounting robot, invoice accounting just got a whole lot smarter and faster. Our accounting robot finally makes fully automated invoicing at the single line level possible. This means better quality accounting and lower cost accounting. Better quality since the accounting robot does the accounting for you on the invoice level, splitting line items correctly based on your specific rules and instructions. Or you can simply assign a trust level to the accounting robot and sit back while it does the work. And if it's not sure, it'll ask you before proceeding. Now that's smart. And lower cost because the accounting robot allows your team to process invoices faster than with manual entry. You only pay a small invoice fee when using the accounting robot, which gives you fast, detailed, and consistent line-level invoicing at a fraction of the normal FTE labor.
Anheuser-Busch is the largest brewer in the United States. We ship over 1.2 million truckloads each year. We are always looking for new innovations in technology. Otto's trucks are the next area of transportation innovation.
The driver would still be involved with the pickup, loading the freight, making sure it's secure in the back of the vehicle. And then once you're on the interstate, one switch and it's driving itself down the road.
Well, Otto's technology is all about making the road safer. It's like a train on software rails. And so when you will see a vehicle driving with nobody in it, you'll know that it's very unlikely to get in a collision.
I proclaimed to one of the technicians, I said, I don't think I could have done that better myself. That was an interesting moment.
Some people are genuinely asking what jobs there might be left for humans actually to do, and one answer seems to be things with our hands, because robots don't have motor skills, so things perhaps like working with food or cutting hair or gardening. But clearly much of this is monotonous and it's not very well paid.
So who will give us money or pay for things if we no longer work or raise taxes? Increasingly it's being suggested that a so-called universal income may be the answer, being paid not to work.
Today, suddenly universal basic income is a serious policy option. There's lots of experiments going on as to how it can be done, what effect does it have. It's moved much more into the mainstream, and that I think is a consequence of all the changes that we're seeing going on.
To provide the United States of America, every citizen in the United States of America with a decent basic income, or I think they were using a income scheme, would cost a quarter of the military spend budget in America. So it's not unfeasible.
But the biggest question of all is whether it would make us happier. Could it be that technology offers us the option of having almost all time to ourselves? And if so, is it a dream come true, or would we get bored? Cautiously, the world of business is asking where the boundaries are and what we are prepared to accept.
Something's going to happen. Something wonderful.
Check this out. When it comes to technology and security, they have a new autonomous RoboCop-style robot that they have equipped with microphones, speakers, cameras, laser scanners, sensors, all the above. And they have started to guard Silicon Valley. Now these robots are called the Knightscope K5 autonomous data machines. They were made by Knightscope, which is located in Mountain View, California. These robots can be programmed to notice unusual behavior and to alert their controllers. They have odor and heat detectors. They can monitor pollution and pollution in your carpet as well. And they have cameras that can remember up to 300 license plates per minute. It has sensors that pick up on all types of things, and if it encounters someone, it will keep a distance from them, but it will encircle them, and it will keep an eye on them if they're in an area where they're not supposed to be, and then it will listen for things like broken glass and things like that. So just a heads up on what's out there now, technology-wise, in this new autonomous RoboCop-style robot that is now roaming the streets in California.
Introducing Turflink's F315, the first driverless fairway mower that saves you more than 80% in operational costs. F315 is autonomous. It performs seamlessly without human intervention, getting the job done every time with precision and accuracy. In fact, it drives even better than you. It's 100% electric. Since there are no hydraulics, there are no leaks. Turflinks reduces the environmental impact and is energy efficient. And as a plus, it's really quiet. It's easy to manage. F315 can be managed using an app from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Choose when, where, and how to mow any time of day or night. It's simple to operate. Set the schedule and mowing patterns. Undock the machine and drive it to the course. It will start when it's time. F315 automatically finds its way to the next fairway. When finished, it will be ready for pickup near the parking. It gives daily reports. Reports are automatically generated so that you always know what is happening in the field and check if the machine needs maintenance. It puts safety first. Turflink's F315 has sensors to detect obstacles, so don't worry, it won't harm anyone. And finally, it's worth your investment. Reduce energy costs up to 80%, reduce labor costs by 90%, reduce maintenance costs by 40%, improve productivity and performance.
Weidmuller specializes in industrial connectivity, electronic systems that coordinate the use of robots in automated production facilities.
My vision is for our production sites to be interlinked in a global network, and with our customers and our suppliers. Ideally, we would have an autonomous, smart, and self-regulating system. So when a customer places an order up at the front, the machine will move itself around the entire delivery chain, and at the end, the customer gets their individualized product.
Here at the most modern car factory in the world, the fourth industrial revolution is in the hands of shiny, red robot arms. Some of them are called Thunderbird or Colossus, names that evoke fantasy world superheroes. Car maker Tesla was initially ignored by the big car makers and then belittled. The giants of the industry struggled on with their outdated business models, in certain high-profile cases resorting to the manipulation of emissions tests. Meanwhile, the fully automated Tesla production facilities in Silicon Valley were busy building the electric car of the future.
Good evening. Welcome to Panna Hotel. Please use the touch panel to select your language. 晚上好。 欢迎光临 Panna Hotel， 请按触摸屏选择语言。안녕하세요. 이상한 호텔에 잘 오셨습니다. 터치 패널의 언어를 선택해 주십시오.